Yo, what is going on, Headliner Nation? Kyle back with the Fantasy Headliners. We are going to be banging out our top 36 wide receivers. And you asked, I'm delivering. You wanted more tight ends this week, so we're going to go top 18 tight ends as well. Don't forget our flex rankings always post Thursday afternoon, along with defensive special team rankings and kicker rankings as members only content. So if you're wanting to get those extra rankings for $4.99 a month, you can become a member here on the channel. Heck, if you're feeling really good and you want a little bit extra of that headliner magic, you can do $20 a month for the excessive chub tier. Get into our Discord and you have a ticketing system that will get you guaranteed answers from Jake or myself. So I would highly encourage you all to consider doing that. We would appreciate the support. That would also bring lots of things that we want to do that your membership would really help out with. But it is time. It is go time. Let's hop right into the rankings. And we're going to start with the wide receivers. Cooper Kupp, Justin Jefferson, Davante Adams, Ja'Marr Chase, Stephon Diggs. Your top five right there. We know, right? All of them had great weeks last week. All of them have the opportunity for great weeks this week. This is what the top five will probably look like on a weekly basis for the rest of the season. It's easy to call those guys. They're absolute animals. They're absolute beasts. Number 6 is going to be Michael Pittman. I got him a little bit on the higher side this week. I love his matchup. I think he's going to absolutely dominate. Looking forward to watching him go crazy. He did last week, going to do it again. A.J. Brown at number 7. He's getting all the looks from Jalen Hurts right now. Lots and lots of volume for him and another good opportunity. Deebo Samuel at number 8. I wanted to go even higher with him because now that we have no Elijah Mitchell for a while, Deebo's going to kind of go back into that, what did they call it? A running wide out or whatever the heck it was, a wide back, or everyone has so many different names for it, but he's going to go back into that role that we saw him have last year where he picks up some of those rushing attempts. I would like to go higher with him, but the guys in front of him have just so much opportunity for volume in the passing game. It's really hard to. Tyreek Hill at number 8. Hey, Tua is able to go down the field just fine, ladies and gentlemen. Mike Williams at number 10 on Thursday Night Football. Really like the bounce back opportunity from him this week. Mike Evans might be a little bit more limited in terms of his ceiling, but he's still the main guy. And really, it seems like everybody in Tampa Bay is on the injury report this week. Jerry Jeudy at number 12. The consensus has him like all the way down as a low wide receiver too, coming off a fantastic week last week. Heck no, we're going to bump him over Courtland Sutton for the time being. At number 13, Gabe Davis. You've got him, you start him. I've got a lot of people asking me, are we still starting Gabe Davis? Do we still love him? Nothing has changed. Yes, we're still starting Gabe Davis. Courtland Sutton coming in at number 14. Love some Courtland Sutton this week. I think he's going to be fine volume-wise. Maybe not, some of what we saw from Jerry Jeudy last week. Maybe Courtland Sutton's a little bit more limited in terms of big plays down the field, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with Courtland Sutton. But I'm not giving up on the magic that him and Russ could potentially have and him being very comparable to Jeudy moving forward. Marquise Brown at number 15, off to a good start with his Arizona Cardinals right now. Continue that this week. Amon-Ra St. Brown coming in at number 16. Would like to go a little bit higher with him, but with him being a line and having Jared Goff as his quarterback, I'm just being a little cautious. Jalen Waddle, scored the touchdown last week. Not nearly as much volume as Tyreek Hill. We'll see how that continues to play out. We talked about that over the offseason, how he could lose on some of that volume, but that efficiency could end up going up. Terry McLaurin at number 18. I'd like to go higher with Terry McLaurin, but I definitely think there's going to be a battle between him and the cornerbacks this week. He's not nearly his physical is what A.J. Brown was, and A.J. Brown was able to bully that secondary for Detroit a little bit. I don't know if Terry McLaurin's going to be able to do that. Brandon Cooks, lots of volume last week. We got to turn that into more production, though. DJ Moore at number 20. We've seen Robbie Anderson kind of step up to being the number 1 for Baker Mayfield this first week. Does that continue? I don't think it continues as much. CeeDee Lamb at number 21. Unfortunately, we got to drop him way down until we see what happens with him and Cooper Rush. Deontay Johnson at number 22. Again, decent amount of volume, but the production wasn't really there. Michael Thomas at number 23. Yes, he scored 2 touchdowns last week. Yes, he was a top wide receiver option last week. Yes, heading into the fourth quarter, he had 1 fantasy point. Just keep that in mind. Is that something that we're going to see moving forward? Will the volume tick up for him? Yes, we moved him a lot higher in our rankings as we was compared to last week. We'll go higher next week if we see that volume start to come up and creep up as well, and he's not just basically relying on touchdowns in the end zone. Darnell Mooney at number 24, looking for a nice bounce back for him. I mentioned it on the start and sit video. I love the fact that he led all wide receivers for Chicago out of the slot last week. Nobody else had more than 2 snaps out of the slot for the Chicago Bears. He's going to miss Jaire Alexander. Alexander's not coming into the slot to take care of him. He's going to be in for a good week. DK Metcalf, he's going to see volume, but the ceiling is nowhere close to what we've seen in the past. Juju Smith-Schuster appears to be the wide receiver 1 there in Kansas City on Thursday Night Football. Can we get him into the end zone and really kind of take that volume to the next level? Rashad Bateman at number 27, another guy who went into the fourth quarter with absolutely nothing last week. And then he gets a 52-yard touchdown, and all of a sudden he has a big fantasy week. Going to be just a little bit more careful with him here, okay, until he starts to, again, see some of that volume and be a little bit more consistent with that. But we do have him as a start this week. Christian Kirk, a nice volume week last week. Trevor Lawrence throwing the ball over 40 times a game is going to be more than enough opportunities for Kirk. Elijah Moore making it a little bit more back into a start for me this week. Definitely saw Robbie Anderson take the top off of that Cleveland defense last week. Can Elijah Moore help do the same thing? Adam Thielen, so much attention is going to be paid to Justin Jefferson. We need to get Adam Thielen rolling over the middle of the field. If we do that, he's going to be a guy that's going to be a mainstay in the top 36 every week, but he's dangerously close to falling out as well. And really the same thing could be said for Hunter Renfrow. Devontae Adams going crazy, but if we don't get Hunter Renfrow going over the middle of the field, that's going to be a situation where we see him start to fall out coming out soon as well. DJ Chark, big play down the field, a great catch in the end zone last week. Jared Goff is absolutely looking his way with DeAndre Swift and the running game being so good with TJ Hockenson and Amon-Ra St. Brown over the middle and those intermediate routes. It's going to leave DJ Chark in some one-on-one opportunities over the top. Great for touchdown potential. Drake London at number 33. Want to see this guy really start to soak in those targets and then produce with them as well. Kyle Pitts could have a tough matchup this week. We'll see if Drake London can take advantage of that himself. Jarvis Landry, 117 receiving yards last week, 7 receptions, led the team in targets. To me, he is the wide receiver 1. However, I've got Michael Thomas higher because of the touchdown upside we saw last week. We'll see what happens with Jarvis Landry this week, potentially a little bit of a tougher matchup. Brandon Ayuk, I do have him listed as a sit this week, but like I mentioned in the start and sit video, if you have Brandon Ayuk and you do not have somebody here listed over the top of him, I am still going with Brandon Ayuk because I feel like his volume, or not his volume, but his upside, even though he's a sit, could definitely put him into the top 30-ish if he were to score a big touchdown. And Amari Cooper, he was open all over the place last week. Didn't quite get on the same page as Jacoby Brissett. We'll see if that changes moving forward. Guys that are just missing the top 36. Allen Robinson, number 1. I got to see how he bounces back. Robert Woods, week 4 through 9 or whenever it was that he got hurt last week, jumped all the way up to wide receiver 6. So again, last season, Robert Woods, before he got hurt in week 9, was the wide receiver 6 from 4 to 9. Okay, that is when he propelled. It took a little bit for him and Stafford to get on the same page, but it ended up happening. Keep an eye on Allen Robinson to do the same. Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins. As of this recording, it sounds like Higgins is trending towards playing, but I don't know that as of yet. If Higgins were to miss this week, Tyler Boyd is going to go up into the low wide receiver 2 category for me. If Higgins were to play this week, Higgins will kind of go into that area and Tyler Boyd will stay out of the top 36. Julio Jones just missing. He is on the injury report this week. Did have a decent game last week, but is he going to really pick it up? My concern with Tampa Bay this week is that they're going to try to punch New Orleans in the mouth kind of the same way that the Atlanta Falcons did last week, running the ball at him with Cordero Patterson. We do the same thing with Leonard Fournette this week. And Josh Palmer, Keenan Allen officially out. Josh Palmer is a guy that I'm not running to throw in my lineup right away because I could see a night where he does have 6 to 8 targets, maybe 50 receiving yards, and just doesn't quite find the end zone. That's not going to be good enough to start. But if you're really in a bind and you like the potential for upside in a shootout, then absolutely go with it and put him in your lineup. I'm looking to get him into my lineup as a wide receiver 3. I'm not really looking to put him in as a wide receiver 2. I think there's other guys that we could toss in that have a little bit more upside, but we still want to own him Keep him on the bench this week. If he has a great night on Thursday Night Football, awesome. Then we know next week kind of more what the established role is going to be. I would have him as a start this week if it wasn't for Gerald Everett and the fact that Austin Ekeler did absolutely nothing last week. Gerald Everett had a good week. I expect him to have another good week, and we're going to get Austin Ekeler going. So Josh Palmer could realistically be the number 4 target on this team for Thursday Night Football. Let's jump into the tight ends. We're going to do the top 18 tight ends. Again, Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews, Darren Waller, really going to be set in stone as the top 3. Not a whole lot of guys we're going to see creep up and take care of that. Pat Freiermuth, 11 actually. I think it was 10 or 11 targets last week for tight ends. Now all of a sudden we've got a banged up Najee Harris. Give me some Patty F this week. Give me the Muth to have himself a really nice week with all that volume, and hopefully he finds the end zone as well. Dallas Goedert was on the cusp, literally inches away from having a big week last week. He was tackled right at the 1 yard line, at the 1 inch line, keeping him from scoring. We're going to see that start to build up. Jalen Hurts, he's the number 2 right now. We look for A.J. Brown, then he goes to Dallas Goedert. Dalton Schultz at number 6. He's still going to be a safety blanket in this offense. I'm still okay with starting him up in this area. Kyle Pitts could potentially have a very tough matchup against Jalen Ramsey this week, but the opportunity for volume is there. Can he score? Gerald Everett at number 8. He found the end zone last week. Looks like he's going to be a big playmaker for this Los Angeles team. Is he going to step up now that Keenan Allen is out, or will Josh Palmer take that away? TJ Hawkinson at number 9, still a decent amount of targets last week, 7 targets. Not a whole lot of volume, but he's going to be utilized. Zach Ertz only found the end zone last week to save his value, but he was also banged up. If he's healthier this week, expect him to be more implemented into the game plan. Albert, are you okay? A good amount of targets last week. We're going to start to see those targets turn into some pretty high productive volume, especially given the fact that Javonte Williams was so good out of the backfield. Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton in the outside were very, very good. Javonte Williams, for me, is not going to get 11 targets every single week, so some of those could start spilling over to Albert, are you okay? Tyler Higbee at number 12 led all tight ends in targets last week. And again, Allen Robinson is not on the same page as Matthew Stafford is right now. Let's get Tyler Higbee going. Hayden Hurst, I've got up all the way at 13 right now because of the potential for Higbee to miss, or not Higbee, excuse me, for T. Higgins to miss. If T. Higgins were to miss or not miss, and he does end up playing this week, Hayden Hurst ends up dropping all the way back to probably tight end 16 or 17 for me. Taysom Hill at number 14. He is a guy that I would start this week, but I wouldn't start him over any of these other guys. And Dawson Knox was really a toss-up for me. For Taysom Hill, he's going to be a guy that's really going to be highly efficient, but he's not going to see a ton of volume. They're not going to give him the type of targets that you would see from a normal tight end, but they're going to use him all over the field, which will give him a good opportunity. At 15, we got Dawson Knox. We really need him to find the end zone. Unfortunately, Crowder and McKenzie are taking a lot away from him right now. Tyler Conklin found the end zone last week. I like his upside potentially again this week as well. OJ Howard found the end zone twice last week. I'm going to take it slow with OJ Howard because I think he's going to continue to build on that and get to a better spot where we see more volume, but it might take a couple of weeks. He's only been there for a week and a half, ladies and gentlemen. He literally got to Houston within days of being cut by the Buffalo Bills. And at number 18 is going to be Cole Kmet. Now that maybe the weather won't be nearly as bad as it was last week, we can see Justin Fields start to pepper him a little bit more. Like I mentioned, flex rankings, kicker rankings, defensive special team rankings, all of them are members only videos. Those will be dropping every Thursday afternoon. So for you members, keep an eye out. They'll be coming soon. Or maybe they already dropped by the time this video comes out. I'm not 100% sure. And then kicker and defensive special teams will be dropping those as well. If you're not a member, I would encourage you to think about becoming one. Lots of extra content. Going to be posting game film review throughout the season. Going to post them after Thursday Night Football. Didn't get one last week because I was at the Lions game, so kind of messed up the schedule a little bit, but we'll get one out this week after the Sunday night games. But hey, appreciate everybody for tuning into this video. Hit the like button for me. If you're new here, subscribe. Hit that subscribe button, and in the comments, let me know if you are new because I want to personally welcome you to the Headliner Nation family. Hey, and if you got any other questions, let me know down in the comments. I'll try to get to as many as I can before kickoff. Appreciate everybody, though. Stay safe and healthy, and I'll catch you all on the next video here on the Fantasy Headliners.